Looking at this question of what emerging nations do as they come onto the global internet is a really interesting question. Um, right now, the default is that you find your way into using these US-owned services. So I was in Yangon, Myanmar, about 15 months ago. Uh, and this is a country that, I mean, first of all, I'd never imagined traveling to as a free speech activist. And then second of all, really never imagined being invited to address a conference on free speech online. But went there, and my main surprise was to discover that Myanmar hadn't actually joined the internet, they joined Facebook. That no one was using any website other than Facebook. If you ask people how to search in Myanmar, they go onto Facebook and they use Facebook search. And so what this means is that they're dependent on a Silicon Valley-based company for their space for political speech. And there's an enormous amount of hate speech on Burmese Facebook, particularly directed at the Rohingya. And it's really hard for Facebook to regulate this because, unsurprisingly, Facebook doesn't have a lot of Burmese speakers. So you look at this and you find yourself sort of saying, I'd really like to see countries trying to build their own local services. Now, the track record on that is terrible, right? You have Iran, Vietnam, and China as sort of the leaders in the people who've built out their own local internets. Russia had a wonderful set of sort of local internet providers like vKontakte, all of which have now been taken over by government cronies. So it's really, really hard. On the one hand, you sort of want to say, oh no, fight the American hegemony. On the other hand, so many of the experiments that have been done in this field have created platforms with censorship baked into them, platforms with certain behaviors taken on it. The way forward for me is looking at countries like Kenya that are cultivating their own local internet companies that are building innovative software and hardware for global markets. And I'm lucky enough to chair the board of a company called Ushahidi, which is a major Kenyan software developer competing internationally. And that's what I would like to see governments trying to do, is trying to help out those local firms, essentially saying, yeah, we're going to build something to challenge Facebook. And you know what? Not just for Kenya, for everywhere. We're going to be full players in this system. No one said this had to be a US system. How we get there, the details of it, that's hard. But finding people to support those companies, finding people to invest in those companies, finding people to use those companies, maybe we're at that time.